What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Flat Motion. Today I have something a little bit different in store. I'm gonna get my 3D printer back going again, and I'm gonna show you guys how it works. And yeah, and just kind of introduce a hobby that's not talked about that much, but something I really enjoy. I like making 3D printed just models or practical pieces, like if it's a door jamb or something simple like that. I love making things like that, especially when it's so cheap. If you have a 3D printer and you can make all of these things. So yeah, today I'm going to show you how to set it up, and hopefully you'll look into the hobby and maybe you enjoy it. But remember to leave a like, subscribe, and comment so my videos get pushed out to other people. And yeah, let's get to it. So this is it. This is my 3D printer, and it's a Creality 3D, which is it's a cheaper Chinese printer, but it really does a good job. Back when I was getting it, I did some reviews, or I looked up some reviews on it. It does a really good job of printing objects with curves and bends in them, a lot smoother than other Chinese printers. And I think it was around $383 for the printer. And yeah, I've gotten a lot of uses out of it, and so far it's been fantastic. So yeah, let's check it out. Okay, so to power on the printer, you would think it would be in the front because this is the little LCD screen and the knob and stuff, but it's actually back here. This is where it is. So you have to turn that on. You can hear it starting up. And also, another reason why this printer was relatively cheap is because you have to put it together yourself. But really what that means is fitting these together, which are just Allen wrenches that's provided with it. You don't have to wire this. This comes in like fully built and things, and this is a little light that I added on the side of it. That's where it melts the plastic to get on the hot plate. It's a hot plate. You have to assemble some of the stuff, but not really. It's not really that bad. I think it was worth it, definitely for the price cut. And then this is the build plate, and I just put a new surface on it. So that goes like so. Make sure it's flush like that on all sides, and also make sure your build plate is flat, because if not, it might throw some of the filament off. You don't want to do that when you're printing, or else it might mess up the rest of your print. So yeah, you just put the clips on there. So I got all 4 of the clips, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it holds the build plate on. And so now what you have to do when you're starting it up for the first time in a while, it's probably tilted a little bit, because underneath there are knobs. These knobs right here are the adjustment knobs, and they are what you use to make sure that that is completely flat. Because if it's not completely flat, then the filament won't heat up properly, it won't sit properly, and therefore it won't ruin your print. So you have to make sure that when you tighten or loosen those, that it's completely flat. And I'll show you how. Okay, so what I usually do is I take a piece of paper, and sometimes I'll fold it in half. That way it's a little bit off of it, because I mean, this is a relatively thin piece of paper. This is just regular printer paper. But I'll fold it in half, make sure it'll conform. And then what I do, move it to each corner first. That way you can adjust the screws underneath accordingly. So what I'll do is I'll tighten this up until it's just rubbing on the paper, just to where I can barely move the paper underneath it. And this is the process that's kind of tedious to do, so I'll probably fast forward it. Alright, so now that is done, I'm going to go pick out an STL file. Okay, so once you have a way you can upload files on your microUSD, the website I like to use is Thingiverse. Thingiverse is basically a website where people can upload files, and some are free, some you have to pay for, but it's like a whole 3D printing site. And you can upload your own if you are into CAD and you like to create things, or you can come in here and use get on this community site and download the STL files that other people make, and see if you just, for example, come over here to things, they have all sorts of stuff that you can print. Okay, so I picked out an STL file. I forgot to mention that we have to have a slicer. So I downloaded Ultimaker Cura. It's made by one of the brands that makes 3D printers. And so when you open up Cura, you go in, you select your printer. And so mine is the Creality CR-10. I forgot to mention that it's the CR-10 model. And then you go in here and that all looks correct for my specific printer. You gotta check the extruder, no offsets, everything should be good, and then hit finish. And then this is your plate. This is basically the same thing as the build plate. That's how it's laid out. And so now you add your STL file. So since this is just an example, we want to scale it down. We don't want to take 2 days. So you want to go over here, you're using Ultimaker Cura. You have these little things, scale it down to whatever size. And you hit slice, still 2 hours and 51 minutes. Let's make it a little, well, let's just do that. We'll save it. All right, so I just finished up, finally got to print. I put in the SD card. Everything went well, except for the thing was just a little too close, so I had to go back and adjust it again. But it's printing now, and I'll show you what I did to get it to start. Okay, so I tapped this button. I went down, well, there's usually right below the pause print, or around there it says print from SD card. So I click that, and then you'll start to see, this is the heating bed, which is that. It heats up beneath it. And then over here is the fan speed, and then right here is the extruder. And you have to pay attention to the specific filament that you use. So this one is PLA filament, and temperature says anywhere, the extruder temperature says anywhere from 195 degrees Celsius to 130 degrees Celsius. And so I have it right kind of in the center at 200. And then this right here is the length of time that it needs to finish the print. It says the heating's done, and these are the coordinates where the extruder is over the print bed. So I will get back after the time lapse and show you the final product. See you in a minute. So it's a little more than halfway done. You can see it coming along over there. Should be done soon. Alright guys, so this is the final product. I'm gonna break it off. A little hard to come off. Gotta use a spatula. There's our final product. Broke it off of the plate. It was stuck on there pretty good, but it turned out pretty well. Of course, this isn't the scale. You couldn't actually use this as a birdhouse. I think it's too small. But the normal scale would have taken 2 days, which that would have been too long. And I just wanted to show this as like a demonstration. You can also see that it did the holes really well. It was a pretty good print. There's a few lines and things that are a little spaced out. Let's see if we can focus. But anyway, yeah, so that's not a perfect print, but it's pretty good. And yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. And I'll see you next time.